Gotcha.
Heading on to another episode of Spear from the Past. We're here to talk about WrestleMania 12. Ignore the Halloween background because StreamYard gave me free backgrounds to use, so I'm going to use them. But I've got Soda here. Soda, how's it going?
I'm doing pretty good, Malcolm. How about yourself?
Doing pretty good as well. But yeah, we had about WrestleMania 12. I know I've been hoping this up for a long time, saying we're going to do it. I just haven't had time to do it myself. But just to recap sort of what was happening around the time and movies and music and stuff. The number one movie was the Birdcage. The number one song in the US was "Because You Love Me" by Celine Dion, and the number one album was "Jagged Little Pill" from Alanis Morissette. So
Mm.
that just sort of sets out
All
the
classic stuff. I love the Birdcage. It's in my top 100.
oh yeah. But yeah, this is kind of a bit of a mixed bag of a WrestleMania. Is like
This was like the transition period.
yeah. I mean, we'll get to a match later, but I know the main event of this is one that's come up on a lot of best of lists. I might have some opinions about it shouldn't be there,
It
but we'll get
depends
to,
on what kind of wrestling you're a fan of, really.
but we're going to go into the first match here, which was a six-man tag team match between British Bulldog, Owen Hart, and Vader, defeating Ahmed Johnson, Jake Roberts, and Yokozuna. Basically, a match just to get as many people on the card as possible. But I found this match like it was for a six-man tag match. It was kind of boring. Like they all got and did their things, and it's like there really wasn't a lot of interesting things there. But, so what are your thoughts about that?
So I actually took some notes for the show because I watched it earlier today in prep. I had the day off, so I had nothing better else
Yeah.
to do. Okay, so Yoko at the end of his career was kind of hard to see because he was 600 pounds here and coming up on when they had to can him. Vader himself should have been in the WWE in 93, 94. I think him as an opponent for Brett back then would have been amazing. But in 96, when they got him, he was pretty much damaged goods by this point. Owen and Bulldog are an underrated tag team. Ahmed Johnson was over. Just too bad he was drizzling shits in the ring. And did you see the ring shake on the Saito suplex from Yokozuna to Vader? Did you catch that? Holy
Yeah.
shit.
But yeah, but moving on, we had the next sort of quote unquote match, which was the Hollywood backlot brawl between Roddy Piper and Goldust, which which was sort of kind of in segments throughout the show, which kind of took away from another match, which we'll get to very soon.
Yeah.
But
Well,
but um but we're going to talk about the whole match in its entirety at this point. There's like no point just to about the sequence, but it's like but yeah, like this match like it was interesting. It was fun seeing like Roddy Piper and Goldust just beating each other up and like
yeah.
just them going all the way through the streets. And one thing I've noted was I was going to get to it later anyway, but it's like throughout the show they would show random segments of what they're saying is the match because
Yeah.
Roddy Piper just happened to have the same car as OJ Simpson, but it was actually just footage from the OJ police
Yeah.
chase.
That's what I've got in my notes here.
uh, but but it was just a lot of fun. They seem to go for the bulls quite a bit in this match.
Well,
And then,
that was the time.
yeah, yeah.
And look who was in the ring. It was Piper. Come on.
Yeah, yeah, and there was and then there was also a moment where it was like Roddy Piper ripped off Gold Dust suit and showed that he wears lingerie.
Yeah, and that's actually
um,
what I've got a little bit of trivia about that here. It was Dustin's idea to do it, and he bought it from Fredericks of Hollywood in the big ladies section.
um, but yeah, I mean, look for what it was fun. Like,
Yeah.
and I just wish there was a definite it didn't seem that I don't know because I mean the finish just ended with Goldust walking like
There
out
really
Roddy
wasn't
Piper.
a finish.
Yeah, it's like
It just happened. I know on one of his podcasts Bruce Pritchard talked about it. I can't remember what the reasoning was, but yeah, it was a bad finish. But I mean, like everything else about this match was ahead of its time, because I mean you'd never seen anything like that before. Now you see matches like this.
yeah,
And it was supposed to be Razor Ramon originally, but he didn't want to do it. After all, it was 1996, right? Um, but yeah, no, this was definitely ahead of its time. And did you recognize the studios?
not on off
That's
the
Universal
top.
Studios backlot.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, because I mean I think last time and I think last time I did a match where it was like went through the mania, it was like it was Dean Ambrose versus someone I can't remember who it was.
mm.
It wasn't a mania anyway, but it was like I remember I've done another one with the Street Fight. It was pretty much like done in segments throughout the paper.
Yeah,
But
yeah. There's definitely been a few throughout history, and I do have one more bit of trivia. Piper got to keep the Bronco as payment instead of being paid for the match, and he actually drove it home to Portland afterwards, and apparently had it till he died.
yeah,
Yeah,
um,
they offered to
but
like ship it to him and everything. He's like, nah, I'll just drive.
but yeah, and but one thing I did find out about this is in 2017 WWE posted a list of like top 35 like mania matches of all time, and
Yeah.
this match ended up at 32, which I mean it's fun. I don't know if I'd put it in the top 35.
As a match from quote unquote bell to bell, no, but it's probably on there just more for the I guess the historical context, because it is kind of an important match in
Yeah,
WWE lore. So that's more than likely why it's on there, albeit as low as it is. It should be lower, but still.
yeah. Um, but then next up we had Stone Cold Steve Austin, which I believe was his WrestleMania debut.
Well, yeah, it was his WrestleMania debut, and I have him in my notes written as the Stone Cold Ringmaster.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I just call him Stone Cold because it's easier.
This is like right when it's that transition. He was still the ringmaster, but he was being called Stone Cold Steve Austin. It was really weird.
um, but he defeated Savio Vega. But yeah, I mean, I what it was, I really dug the match. I thought the match was actually pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't help that one the crowd didn't seem to care for it that much. Also, it didn't really help that commentators were more focusing on the Goldust Roddy Piper situation, because there was a few times throughout this match there was like they were bringing up like Roddy Piper, one asking him where he's going and all
Yeah.
that, and that just took away from the match a lot.
I was listening to it with these headphones, and I heard a lot of stuff that I'd never heard before, I never caught. And one of them was some of it was the language that was used in here. I'm like, well, I know he's a heel, and I know he's not really like that, but yikes.
Yeah. But so, what are your thoughts about Stone Cold Steve Austin versus
So I don't
Savio
really
Vega?
have much thoughts. It's an underrated feud, actually. I think it's one that when it comes to best Austin's greatest feuds, nobody talks about it because of what comes later. But in terms of like the early days of his character, Savio Vega contributed massively to that, and it was definitely fun to see the origins of Stone Cold. But I mean, this was just your basic mid card WWE match or WWF match at the time. You don't really see these much anymore, thank God.
Um, but the next up, we had Mr. Perfect interviewing Diesel, which I had no idea Mr. Perfect was doing backstage interviews.
Yeah, he did he was a commentator as well. What 90 Survivor Series 95, I think he was on the desk.
Yeah. But that was a typical Diesel
Yeah.
promo, like
I
nothing
have
much.
here, how many times could Mr. Perfect say Diesel? If he was on commentary, I'd invent a drinking game.
Yeah. And I mean, there was one of those ones. I was looking at the time when I go for this match. It's like because I knew there was like a 1 hour Iron Man match, which was going to take up most of it. But a lot of these first matches was like half an hour, the first
Yeah.
first half hour of the show. So it was like, So they spent a lot of time on the Goldust Roddy Piper stuff throughout,
Mm-hmm.
and the Shawn Michaels Bret Hart match. Uh,
Yeah. And then they also, after coming up after the match we're going to be talking about next, they also started something there too. So there was a few
yeah,
things.
yeah. But then next up we had the Ultimate Warrior in a what they're calling it's like the biggest big return of all time. Like he's
Yeah.
coming back to do a match. He defeated Hunter Hearst Helmsley in a squash match.
Yeah.
So it's like if you're hyping up this big return, give them a decent length match. Don't just have it as a squash match. Like, well, was this Triple H's like Hunter Hearst
Yes, it was.
Helmsley
It
debut
was
as
his
well? Yeah,
WrestleMania debut. I
yeah,
have the figure of Warrior from that event.
yeah. Um,
So
but
what
yeah,
a pop! Like Warrior, you got to admit, Warrior, the pop for Warrior returning was pretty big. Um, but some first off, somebody hosed off Lawler for his Sable. Like, come on, we get it. And if there was enough time, this would have been a pee break match. But from what Bruce Pritchard said in his podcast, it was supposed to be longer, but the ending was changed by Warrior himself, like right before, which other people have confirmed. And I was with that in mind, and as I was watching this match, I'm like, it actually makes sense, even though it's kind of selfish. It makes sense for the Warrior character. As somebody who grew up watching the Warrior and seeing those matches, it makes sense. Made sense. Sorry,
yeah.
looking at it now.
Um, but then next up we had a backstage team with Mark Mero getting into a fight with
Yeah,
Triple
so
H.
this was Mark Marrow's debut in the Fed. Holy shit! Sorry, I'm watching Raw. Are you watching Raw?
I've got it paused at the moment, but yeah.
Okay, do you want me to tell you what just happened?
What?
Cena just won the IC title.
Uh,
So I was like, holy shit. Okay. Yeah, he just beat fucking Dirty Dom in the ring. Anyways, no, this is Mark Marrow's debut in the company. And this was also the way to introduce Sable into the company because after this, she became Mark Marrow's manager. So and then of course set up Marrow's first feud. So yeah, little did we know, it was in Mark Marrow that became the star.
yeah. Um, but yeah, next up we had the match of the usual Undertaker versus match, which was Undertaker defeating Diesel. I believe this was his first Mania match from what I remember. This is very 5-0.
Sorry, who's first mania match?
No, Undertaker. Undertaker's fifth Mania.
Oh, I misunderstood it. First, I'm like, no, what?
No,
No, yeah, it's 7, 8, 9, 11. Yeah, you're right, fifth.
yeah. Um, but yeah, but I thought this was a really pretty good match. Like it's not the best Undertaker match I've seen, but I think it was still a great match overall. Like so I've seen lot of Diesel's matches. Like Diesel, his matches he's all over the place. Like he's either got
He works
not
better with
good
small
match,
guys.
yeah. But for two big guys in the ring, I think this worked a lot, and I think it was just a
Yeah,
lot of fun. It had decent time, and but yeah. So, what are your thoughts about Undertaker versus
yeah.
Diesel?
This was so fifth Taker match. This was, I say, second good match. The Jake Roberts being one being the first. Yeah, you think for two big guys, normally those type of matches don't always work, but these two actually made it work. Whoever was there, if I don't know if they had agents back then actually, but whoever was working with them on this match definitely helped them lay it out pretty good. Like it
Yeah,
was a good match. It was one of Diesel's best matches, not with Bret Hart or Shawn Michaels. Actually, no, it was his best match, not against Deep Bret Hart or Shawn Michaels
yeah, yeah.
or Razor.
Um, but then moving on, we so I think it was either after this or before this we had the rest of the Piper Goldust match. But then after
It
that,
was after it was this because that was like kind of the breather before the rest of the before the end.
yeah, and then we move into the Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart Iron Man match, which from the get go was like I completely forgot this is the Mania where Shawn had the zipline entrance. Because like
Yep.
I saw Shawn Michaels players like, and then his manager comes out, was like,
Yeah.
Shawn's let himself go. So it's
He's let
like,
himself go. He's bald and he's brown
um,
and short. Well,
but it's like, but then Jose was putting up to the Wrestlemania
yeah,
side. Then we see like Shawn coming down the zip line, which is, like is a really cool
it's
entrance.
a
I'll
really
give
cool
it
moment,
that.
and you can actually go on YouTube and find Vince McMahon doing it himself that day, demonstrating how safe it is. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely one of the more iconic ones. And I can't remember which video game it was, but you actually got to do it when they replicated the WrestleMania 12 main event. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. But I think it would have been. It might have been the one that the year that had the
It sounds like it might be the 30 years of WrestleMania one. So that would have
Yeah,
been like
that's the one I'm thinking.
2K15, I think it was,
Yeah,
which was honestly my favorite showcase they've done. Is still that one.
I mean, for me, my favorite, and I know this is a bit of a tangent. My favorite showcase is probably the one where they had the most recent John Cena showcase, where
Ugh.
it's like, but it's like you don't actually play as Cena, it's like you play as his opponents who
I
actually
love
take
that
this.
idea, but I could not get past The Undertaker. I that's the only showcase I've never completed.
Oh yeah, no, I mean it's like I've completed them all. It's like I mean the showcase I done the recent one. I only struggled in the like the ladder match that they
Yeah,
make you
everyone
do.
did, but did you figure out the trick?
Well, for me, I see it's not so much the trick. For me, I didn't do any tricks. I was only failing because I thought I was attacking Charlotte. It turned out I was taking someone completely different.
Oh, frig. No. The best way to do these ladder matches in that game is to save up two finishers. So that way, when everyone's down, you go up and you skip the stage,
Oh
and
yeah,
then you do
yeah.
the. That's how I do all the ladder matches.
Yeah, weirdly enough, I don't have a lot of problems with ladder matches.
I
I don't.
always have. I've hated it, but with this new edition, yeah, I like it.
Um, but but yeah, moving on back into this match. I know when Austin Hurd was doing WrestleMania 12 was like, yeah, um, unless you want someone to be critical about this main event, don't get me on this. Austin's not that big of a fan
It's
of the
divisive, and I get it. I get it.
Yeah, and look, and it's one of those ones. I'm kind of inside of Austin's like this match, like well, yeah. Whenever they did moves and like did actual wrestling, it was fun. Like
Yeah,
I had fun watching the match, but god damn, there's a lot of wrist holds as well. It's like
that's the thing. So like
um,
you got to know the people involved in the match. So clearly you've got Bret Hart, who's one of the greatest of all times, has the high standard set for himself. Shawn Michaels, one of the best of all time. The man who put the match together is Pat Patterson. So you've got these three old school guys from the territories putting this match together. So this is definitely like, as somebody who knows a little bit of his wrestling, this is what in the 80s Ric Flair would have called a 60-minute Broadway. That's what this was. It's just unfortunately in 1996, it no, it shouldn't have taken place. It should have taken place maybe 3 years earlier when they first had their feud.
yeah,
It might have worked because a lot of the Iron Man matches that came after this are hands down better. Like there's an underrated one with Triple H versus The Rock from '98. Kurt Angle versus Brock Lesnar versus SmackDown was amazing. And then of course we got some really great ones in AEW. But yeah, no, this first one, I understand why people revere it because of it's a historic match. It's a passing of the torch per se. It's a match that's never been done again, thank God, in Mania history. So I understand why it's held in regard on that side. However, I do, after rewatching it again and falling asleep, I tend to be with you guys as at 38 years old. Like I watched this a lot when I was a kid, but as a man, as an older person now, yeah, it's definitely on the boring side. There were some great spots, but it's like you're right. A lot of rest holds, a lot of breaks, but it's like you gotta look at it as who put the match together. And I was like, oh, okay, makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, and it's one of those ones like I get that, but it's like, see, they were doing it as this whole big like Iron Man
Yeah,
match, but it's like the fact they had it just decided by single pin. Like I would look, I would have been fine if it was like a 1 hour fight to one finish. Like I would have been
yeah,
weirdly enough, I would have been fine if that was what was going to happen. But because they booked it as an Iron Man match, and the fact they didn't have any pins or like any kind of countouts at all throughout the initial 1 hour of like, oh yeah, we're just gonna go into overtime now and like
yeah.
have this one pin. It just kind of took the sting out of that a little.
Yeah, like I mean, the idea is good. It's like these two guys are so good that they have to keep going to determine who wins. I get that part, but you're right. The execution of it just was kind of like if it had been like 1-1, it might have made sense if it was 1-1.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah, yeah.
that would make
I
more
agree.
sense that way.
Because yeah, because from what I kind of read is there's apparently like, from what I kind of read from some other reviews, like they were saying that I'm not too sure this is true, but apparently Sean and Brett both didn't want to be pinned.
Well, they weren't quite at like the ripping hair out of each other's head stage yet,
Yeah,
but they were still kind of they were it was halfway there at this point. So I don't know if that one was true or not.
yeah.
I wouldn't surprise me.
But I mean, yeah, but even then, like if they didn't want to be pinned, like have a count out.
Yeah,
Like, do count outs, do disqualifications.
yeah,
Like, well, I don't think either of them are healed, so disqualifications. Also, one thing I will say is like, the person explaining the match is like, he was overly explaining count outs and disqualifications. Like, it's like, you got to be hit for the count of 10. It's like,
yeah. And something that does not add to it is Vince McMahon on commentary, who I don't mind normally, but not for an hour on one match.
yeah, but yeah, but yeah, and as well as and on that same list I was talking about with the 35 top 35 mania matches, like I think this was about I think this was 8 or something from what I remember. I personally would have put it a little bit lower. I probably would have kept it in there because of how iconic it is, like because it does get talked about a lot.
Yeah,
So
it's like the miracle on ice moments. Like, do you believe in miracles? The boyhood dream, like
yeah,
Austin 316. Like it's one of those moments.
but yeah, um, but yeah, with that that is WrestleMania 12. I would I once again, I would sort of do the segment where I ask, what would you change? We've kind of already covered that throughout the. We were talking about specific matches
Basically,
as
yeah.
already, so we don't need to do that. But so overall, what did you think of WrestleMania 12?
Um, the mid so not including the main event, I actually enjoyed the show. The mid card itself, I enjoyed just because it kind of was felt a little nostalgic for me because I was a fan of the time and stuff like that. So I enjoyed the mid card. The main event, as like I said, as an older gentleman now, it's a little harder to get through. So I would probably give it a B minus show because I know coming up, starting the next night, WWE slowly going to be starting doing this because Mankind debuts the next night and sets off his legendary feud with the Undertaker. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a B minus for historical context and because of what's coming up afterwards.
But yeah, I'm going to say like I think the main event like while I did have criticisms out, it was fun. Goldust versus Piper was a fun match. Like I wasn't bored throughout this match. Like the matches were good. So for me, it is probably about 3 out of 5 for me. But it's there. It's one of those ones I'll like I'll probably go back and watch it again. But yeah, with that, I'm going to bring up the reel and we're going to find out what the next pay per view is.
Come on, Invasion.
I've had at least one one invasion, or I think. But actually, but as I've said a few times, I have there's some new things on this wheel. I have added some TNA pay per views because there's actually some on YouTube now, and
Right, yeah.
JP also helped me and also sent me a playlist which had Ring of Honor pay per views. So there's now TNA and Ring of Honor pay per views on this wheel as well. So, um, but that the wheel is spinning.
It looks like the inside of a cardboard tube.
Yeah. TNA
What
Hard Justice
show
from
is that?
2008.
Hard Justice. What was the time? Ooh, Samoa Joe is champ. Oh, okay, this is like the main event Mafia era. Okay, so Booker
Yeah,
T was on the card. There was a last man standing match. Kurt Angle, AJ Styles. Um, a tag match. Beer Money Inc. versus the LAX. Oh,
yeah.
this is a good card.
But that is going to be that is going to be the next episode. I'm going to try and do it weekly, but depending on what comes up and what else has happened, as why it's been a long gap between episodes. I just haven't been able to do it as often as I could.
Life.
But that yeah, but that Matt, where can people find you online?
You can just find me on my personal Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. Soda underscore the underscore Saxman. I don't really have much of a presence anymore, but if you're in the northern BC area, come and see me in my doing my stuff at the Terrace Little Theater here. So
And you can find me on Take View Productions hosting ranking every week. Next week we're going to be ranking the Predator franchise, which is all the movies that have Predator in the title, plus the two Alien versus Predator movies, because they still count, even though they're probably not canon. But so that is next thing of next week from Passes CNA Hard Justice. And I pop up here and there on the Movie Hero Network. I'll be on tomorrow for Fantasy Movies, the Mystery Fantasy Tournament #2. And I'll be there next week for the 1989 letter series. But that is the end of Spare from Pass for this week. I'll see you all next time.